woke up today and chose violence. Let's talk about the Muppets. I'm wearing a lab coat because I decided this was gonna be an autopsy, but I didn't really think it through beyond that. In 2015, a show premiered on ABC. It was shot in a mockumentary style, similar to The Office or Parks and Rec. However, it had one very different gimmick that set it apart from these other shows. For one thing, most of the cast were puppets. After a season of 16 episodes, The Muppets was unceremoniously canceled because no one else bothered to fucking watch it except for me. Now look, I'm not gonna tell you it was a perfect show or that it was mind-blowing by any imagination, but the truth of the matter was, it was a really good fucking show. There were some misses, but if it had got a second season, it would have had time to actually find its footing. But I'm not here to talk about what ifs. I'm here to talk about PeePee! This is my cat. He's being a little shit right now, so I'm trying to stop him from destroying my living room. Say hi, PeePee. Okay, goodbye, PeePee. The Muppets have existed in some form or another since 1955, with their personalities and characters really taking shape and solidifying during the run of the original Muppet Show during the 70s, and of course the original Muppet movie in 1979. Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog have had an on-again, off-again relationship that has sort of become the emotional core of the Muppets, considering how much screen time it's been given. So it really comes to no surprise that when they had a huge breakup in 2015, a bunch of tabloids covered it, from People to Today to whatever. But people paid attention. It's not every day that two high-profile puppets call off their 40-year relationship, you know? But the Muppets series from 2015 picks up a few months after the breakup, with both Miss Piggy and Kermit dealing with it separately, yet still having some lingering, unresolved feelings towards each other. I mean, they're exes who were together for 40 fucking years. And on top of that, they work together, like, really closely. There's gonna be some feelings there. And what's most surprising is they managed to handle this realistically. So, at this point of this story, Kermit has moved on, or so he claims, and he has a new girlfriend, Natalie Dormer's pig Sona, Denise. Piggy's a huge star. She's got everything she could want. However, there are elements at play that kind of key you into the fact that not everything's as peachy keen as it could be. PeePee! PeePee! Stop it! PeePee! You're tearing this family apart, cat! Take this for example. Elizabeth Banks is slated to be a guest on Up Late with Miss Piggy. And Miss Piggy hates that idea. They already booked her, they can't really bump her, but Miss Piggy does not want to deal with Elizabeth Banks. Everyone around them thinks, oh, they have a feud or something. Only for it to be revealed that, no, Kermit broke up with Miss Piggy in front of a poster of Elizabeth Banks, and she considers it to be the backdrop of one of the worst nights of her life. On the other hand, there's Kermit. You know, you'd think he has his shit together. I mean, he's Kermit the Frog. He's the straight man of the entire franchise. But, you know, he's Kermit. For one thing, his work-life balance on the show is completely lopsided, where he works so much and has to spend so much time with Piggy to the detriment of his relationship with Denise, which ends pretty much the way you expect it will. And on top of that, in his relationship with Denise, he uses tactics that would comfort or assuage Miss Piggy's concerns and complaints, but wouldn't necessarily work on another woman. Like, for example, when he gets into a fight with Denise, his immediate instinct is to start flattering her, because that's what would have worked with Miss Piggy. God, I hope any of this makes sense. Throughout the season, Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy are actually trying to figure out what their dynamic is working together, and not just as exes. It makes a lot of sense in context that, you know, it takes time to relearn those things, to figure out who a person was now, even if you have a history with them. And I don't know, I just really love that. I appreciate how realistic it is. It feels like watching two friends who have been working together in an office for months, trying to figure out what to do after they have a really shitty breakup. Ow. Literally, if you change Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog into human beings, the only thing that changes about this storyline is the amount of bacon jokes that they can make. There's also a smaller subplot focused on Sam the Eagle having a crush on Janice from Electric Mayhem, and I just really love it. It really hits all the right notes of what it feels like to have an unrequited crush. It's just a really cute, they don't have a super lot in common, but I just really love that plotline. I think it's really cute. Now, Kermit and Miss Piggy aren't the only ones with a realistic relationship portrayed on the show. I actually really love Fozzie and Kermit's relationship. They've been best friends for as long as anyone can remember, but they're adults about it, you know? They're not grouped into every single scene together like you see on a lot of other shows. And the friend groups aren't insular like they tend to be on other shows. Fozzie is best friends with Kermit, but most of the time, because of work, he's hanging out with Pepe and Rizzo. He's got other friends who show up to his comedy shows to support him. Kermit and Fozzie care about each other, but they also respect each other's responsibilities and activities in their day-to-day lives. There's no guilt with not seeing each other every moment of every day or not talking to each other every day, but, you know, the love is still there and they step up for each other when it matters. Fozzie tells Kermit that he wants to ask his girlfriend Becky to move in with him, and Kermit is a little nervous about this. Fozzie doesn't have the best track record for being a responsible, mature adult, but he also doesn't want to hurt his best friend's feelings. So, of course, he tries to find something wrong with the girlfriend instead. It's not the best choice, but it feels realistic. Friendship is hard. You want to protect your friend's feelings. Of course you're going to try to make that decision to keep it as painless as possible instead of confronting them on it if you can. It's not the best decision, but it's understandable. It's one of the most grounded adult friendships I've actually seen in a while. Another thing that I like while I'm talking about the relationship aspects of this show is that, yes, the cast and crew of Up Late with Miss Piggy are Muppets. They've worked together and have been a family for years, for decades at this point. But they're not the only ones that they hang out with. They have friends outside of the Muppets. They really only hang out for parties on Friday night after the fucking show wraps. It makes sense. It feels like what it's like being an adult and having different friend groups. I just really like that. So I've already talked a little bit about Up Late with Miss Piggy so far, but I feel like we need to talk about what it actually is in regards to the show. It's the show within a show. It's Miss Piggy's late night talk show where she is the host and she has different guests on, and it works as a pretty good framing device for the rest of, well, the show. It centers the show. It gives everyone a reason to be there, but it also plays to each of the characters' strengths. Fozzie, Pepe, and Rizzo are all comedy writers. Gonzo is currently a retired stuntman in the show. Piggy's the host. Kermit's, like, the producer. Even Big Carl is working the reception desk. It just works. I think it's a perfect formula for creating a modern Muppet series, especially because it feels like an homage to the end of the original 1979 Muppet movie, where you see all the Muppets like on a soundstage together and they're all doing different things. It feels very on brand and in line with the classic Muppets. Because of the late night show format, it also allows for a classic Muppet staple, celebrity guests and musical numbers. And it works perfectly. Nothing about it feels inorganic. It doesn't feel out of place to have a celebrity just show up and start interacting with them because they told you a minute ago, oh yeah, we totally booked Josh Groban to come on the show. There's a few moments I will mention, like Liam Hemsworth? I don't know the difference between them, and I'm sorry. That's not my jurisdiction. Look, man, I talk about Disney movies and shit. I don't know what people look like. Basically, that one guy shows up and it's weird. He steals a date from Gonzo. It's kind of a dick move. Look, I'm not gonna get into it. That's not what I'm here to talk about. Because of Up Late with Miss Piggy, it also allows them to make meta jokes about things that can happen with late night television or show business in general. And it leads to some pretty fun meta moments. My personal favorite is that during the original run, there was a sort of boycott against the show by this one group called 1 Million Moms, who were all like, oh, the Muppets, they're so raunchy now. What happened? They're talking about getting cosmetic surgery and they're drinking bourbon. Oh, whatever will they do? Think of the children. And, yeah, they make fun of it on the show. Kermit, like, opens the blinds, and there's, like, two parents with signs outside protesting the idea of Miss Piggy showing her tail on television. If you've been alive more than 10, 15 years, or have watched a lot of Muppets, I'm sure you're familiar with the fact that the Muppets aren't actually made for kids. They're made for all ages. Anyone can watch them, but that doesn't mean that kids are gonna get every single joke. And that's part of what I love about it. Yes, a lot of the humor is slapstick. They're puppets, they're cartoony, they're wacky, they've all got personalities and backstories out the wazoo. But what's so fun about it to me is that they mix it with adult humor. Like, for every joke about no one understanding what the Swedish chef says, there's like two more about Kermit's sex life or Gonzo's sex life. Man, it's weird acknowledging that those are things that exist, but that's the Muppets for you. And I should mention, those jokes could come off as crass, but they don't, because again, these characters have been around for a really long time. Most of the jokes that they do make play really well into the histories of the characters and their already established personalities. Now, it is at this point that I must discuss probably my favorite episode in the whole series. A lot of people hate it, and that's fine if it's not to your taste. Your mileage may vary. I broke my glove. That's fine. I just really personally love the episode where Miss Piggy and Josh Groban date. Miss Piggy has to go to an award show, but it's her first red carpet event since the breakup, and she doesn't want to walk it solo. So Kermit brings up the fact that him and Piggy had hall pass lists while they were dating. And because of this, he has written down anyone and everyone she has ever taken an interest in to try to get as her date to make her happy about the whole situation and all of the fuss in the first place. I just love that joke, but even better, Josh Groban is so good in this episode. He ends up becoming this like almost manipulative, domineering, yet somehow artsy, faux sensitive boyfriend. It's so good, and It gives me hands down one of my favorite jokes of the series.
Good morning, everybody. So sorry I'm a little late, but for some reason it's just so hard to get out of bed these days.
Der Picken, der Gruppen, der Gruben.
Oh, Chef, you have a naughty mind.
So, I've already been hyping up the Muppets for 5 hours. My camera died, and honestly, you don't want to know the amount of stuff that I've had to cut out of this. I really like the Muppets, okay? So, of course, no show is perfect. There's gonna be faults in anything and everything, and the 2015 Muppets is no exception to that rule. In my opinion, it's definitely one of those cases where if it had gotten another season, it would have been able to grow into itself, to figure itself out and unwork those issues that it had in the first season. But no one gave it a chance, so we'll never get to know, now will we? There were some choices made in the first season that I don't personally agree with. So one of the choices that I really don't agree with that they made for this show was the amount of screen time and the weird storylines they decided to give Fozzie Bear. And look, I love Fozzie. He's a classic. He's great. Waka waka. However, there's some storylines that I feel were a little misplaced.
Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't see how it's ever gonna work out with you and a...
You can say it, Dad. He's a bear.
Yeah. This salmon is just terrific.
Likes the salmon. What a surprise.
And they didn't follow it up with the best storylines for Fozzie.
Where's my George Carlin candy dish?
It was gone when I got here.
You stole my George Carlin candy dish? You know something, son? You got a problem.
I don't know. I found it really weird that Fozzie Bear would look up to Jay Leno professionally, of all people. Why Jay Leno? Fozzie and Jay Leno don't really seem to have similar senses of humor. And also, why not pick a funny comedian? But my own personal vendetta against Jay Leno aside, it just felt like a weird choice. It feels like they just kind of used him because he's in the network or something. And there's a few cameos that do feel like that. It just wasn't my favorite storyline. It wasn't, it didn't really grab me. The second half of the season, however, we get a character called Pache, which is spelled pizza. And,
So, yeah, I'm Pache, spelled exactly how it sounds, P-I-Z-Z-A.
Wait a minute, that spells pizza.
It's Pache! Branding 101. Build your brand on an already established brand.
Yeah, but pizza's not a brand. Domino's, that's a brand.
Pizza Hut, Chuck E. Cheese, or Little Caesars.
Look, I'm gonna update your show. Your audience is old.
he's obnoxious. He's supposed to be able to turn every TV show into gold. But they keep talking about how every show he helped improve immediately gets canceled. You know what he reminds me of? The worst of Mark Beeks from DuckTales 2017. Pache and Mark Beeks are basically the same character with different motivations.
Old guys, nice clubhouse you've got here. Got a real I'm so rich I don't care how I look quality about it. Rich peeps!
I don't like him. Well, I prefer Mark Beeks, I'll be honest. But Pache is the worst aspects amplified. He's very obnoxious. He's written in a way that feels like a boomer would describe the idea of a millennial. He doesn't feel like a person, he feels like a caricature. Did he bring some interesting tension to the show? Yes. Does that mean they should have kept utilizing him? Yeah, but maybe make him a little more digestible, please? So probably the biggest thing that did really bother me about the Muppets was the choice of musical guests, actually. They're all talented people. I'm sure they're great to see live and in person, and not singing a duet with Miss Piggy. All love to Miss Piggy. It's just, you know, you need to have a specific kind of voice to really pull off a duet with her. I get it was 2015, but Imagine Dragons? I mean, look, I only remember that they were even in the show because I did this research. They're super forgettable. I'm sorry, I'm sure you're nice people, but then some choices were just weird. Like, why does Kristen Chenoweth go on a road trip with Electric Mayhem?
Question about my seatbelt. I think it's just a guitar strap connected to nothing.
Why? So, despite discussing this series for literally hours at this point, I still haven't even really talked about some of my favorite parts of it. Now, these are all miscellaneous kind of things, but they do feel worth mentioning, so just thank you for bearing with me before I get to the final part of this video / the entire reason why I made this video. So thank you. There's a lot of established characterization and backstories for literally every single Muppet. And what I love about this series most of all is that they really do play with it, and they play with it in a way that rewards old fans and keys new fans into like the stories and the relations between everyone and what each person's about. And I just really love it. One of my favorite moments, of course, Electric Mayhem. Finally confirmed as what we all thought they were all along.
Have you checked with the band? I bet they'd be happy to buy your cookies.
Hey, yeah. Those guys are always happy.
Yeah, legally now.
They address the fact that no one can ever understand what the Swedish chef is saying, except for Piggy? And I love that. I love the idea that Miss Piggy is the only one who can understand him, and they water cooler talk. I just love it. It's the smallest character detail. But I want more. I wanted season 2 to just delve into that relationship. I wanted them to be, I just want them to be friends. I want to see Miss Piggy have a confidant other than Uncle Dudley. Wow, I'm a much bigger Muppets fan than I realized. I also love how they include Rolf in the series. You'd expect him to be part of the house band for the show or something, but no. Instead, he owns the bar that all of the Muppets hang out at on Friday nights after work is done, and where they all meet up and like get up to shenanigans. And I just really love it.
How do you do it, Rolf? You're one of the easiest going guys I've ever known.
Well, when I'm having a tough day, I go home, draw myself a hot bath, get out, run around the house like a maniac, and chew on an old shoe.
And that makes you feel good?
Oh, especially the shoe part. Brings me back to a simpler time.
It feels like a good way to have them all involved without forcing all of them into the same space. I just like it. There's just so many moments on this show that I love. I love it so much. Miss Piggy looks into the camera and says thank you next years before Ariana Grande did.
So I let him go. Next!
There's at one point where Dave Grohl gets into a drum battle with Animal, which I'm just gonna put a little clip here. I love it.
I've been waiting years for this, Animal.
Now we see who best.
Oh, what's that? A bell? Time for school.
Probably my favorite scene of the series. Let's go into a little bit of detail here. So it's Denise's birthday, and Kermit, in this continuity, is a notoriously awful, and I mean like really terrible gift giver. He doesn't know how to shop for people. He's really bad at it. So he asks Miss Piggy.
Wait, what's this?
What?
It's a switch.
A switch?
Yeah. Oh my god. I love this song. You are the sunshine of my life. Oh. That's why I'll always be around.
I'd do anything for Kermit. I mean, after all, he is my friend. But don't ask your ex to buy a gift for your girlfriend. That is messed up. I think he knows that now.
So if you've made it this far in the video, you're wondering what's the point? Where am I really going at with this? And it's not just that I think that this series deserves more love and more seasons, and I'm secretly hoping for a Disney Plus reboot, but it's actually because I need answers. So in the penultimate episode, Miss Piggy has to get a surgery, and because of the surgery, she ends up a little woozy and out of it, and she tells Kermit that she loves him, but Kermit takes it as, I want to be with you. And in the finale, both of them are figuring out if they want to try again. They leave us on a goddamn cliffhanger, okay? It's the final episode of the season of Up Late with Miss Piggy. She leaves early before Kermit can talk to her and confess the fact that he does want to try again with her. And the last scene of the entire series is Miss Piggy getting on a plane and complaining about the fact that there are no pre-flight calzones. And Kermit appears and tells her that yeah, even after they broke up and all those trips she went on afterwards, it was always him who made sure she got a pre-flight calzone.
They had one on our flight to Miami.
No, that was me.
But they had one on our flight to...
That was me too.
I went to Argentina all by
I
myself.
slipped a
and
calzone to the flight attendant.
You did all that to keep me from finding out there's no such thing as pre-flight calzones?
Well, I guess I knew you'd never fly again.
Okay.
I love you, Piggy. So, let's just get out of here, okay? You know, away from work and away from all our friends and see what we are. What do you say?
All right, listen. I just washed down an Ambien with 2 Chardonnays, but here goes.
Okay.
Our relationship's always been a complicated one, Kermit.
Yeah,
you know
that's
that.
true, that's true.
And that's why I really think...
You...
Yeah.
Piggy? Piggy? You think what? I kind of need to know this, Piggy.
Look, Disney. Look, ABC. It has been 6 years. We, to this day, have still not gotten confirmation about whether or not Miss Piggy and Kermit are back together or not. We still don't know what happened in Thailand. Just tell me what happened, man. What happened in Thailand? What happened on that plane? It's been 5 years. I need closure. What happened? You can't leave me on a cliffhanger like this. What the heck? Ah!